Gone up brain dead, can't decide. You can't breathe enough, you can't hide. You can be cool or you can cry. Do it wrong, not at all, or do it right. No one owes you, no one's to blame. Sit for bad genes or DNA. Ask your conscience the why and how. Do it then, do it when, do it now. What's up, sweet cakes? Who's here? Easy. What you gonna do, little buckaroo? Yeah, you gotta do. People is asking now. No, we all can be super fly. GQ, PhD, FBI. You can pretend and you can try. Move ahead, lay down dead, or slip on by. When the truth seems so far away.
Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to another week. And how's our best co-host with the most CEO of a wonderful warp company doing today?
Man, I am good. I'm good. I'm good. I was just very excited to be joining the space. Dealing with some last minute SaaS action. So that's why I was a little delayed on this. Yeah, we have a ton of people today coming up to speak and cause trouble with the rest of us as usual. So don't be afraid if we rotate you a little bit in and out. And with that, let's get into it, Grim. Let's get into it. I don't know if we even have the time to go around the room.
Very
Topic it up. Topic it up. Let's get intros and your icebreakers at the same time.
Okay, so today we're talking about players' economy over Ponzi economy. Fight me. So the first question of the day, and I want to get everybody acquainted how we do things. We launched an icebreaker. You give your 2 cents, and you also give a little presentation who you are if people don't know you in the audience. So nice to meet you and everything. So the question of the day: if gamer ran the global economy, what would inflation look like? Who wants to get started?
Oh, brother, that's a good one. That's a good one. Before you join in, just make sure that you are unmuted on X because we're live on the stream. Yeah, the hands are ready. I see Louis from the fabulous partner, the Vara Network.
Yeah. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Nice. Hello everybody. I am Luis Ramirez, Ship Grow Officer at Care Foundation, a non-profit company behind the Vara Network technology, and it's a pleasure to be here again, always. Well, I guess this question is really interesting because I believe that gamers are really resilient. So my idea about if gamers run the global economy, I guess that inflation wouldn't stand a chance because they are the kind of people who grind for hours. I know I was really this kind of person years ago. Now I need to work, but I really love to play games. But also something interesting about the gamers is like they can fail a lot of times. They play and they can fail a lot of times, and they still keep going until they find the solution or the perfect strategy. So yeah, I guess that they will solve without a doubt the problem of the economy until they find it.
Ooh. Who you want to throw it to next? I see a lot of hands. So let's go with 100x. Who's behind the count? I can hear you. Mic check, mic check. Okay, we just lost him. That didn't last long. Okay, DRM.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, don't know what happened to 100x. He got rooked apparently. Yeah, if gamers were running the economy and or global inflation, we would probably have three currencies. I'd say one premium, one grindable, and one only available on Halloween and other holidays.
Oh God.
And the economists would cry. That's probably what would happen if gamers were running the show. That's just my opinion.
Do you agree with that, Matt, or is that
Yeah,
something?
I mean, look, I agree with it. And there is also all of the jokes like if gamers were running the economy, then every wolf would drop 2 skins and a couple of heads and an odd number of claws. And Mountain Dew would be extremely expensive because it would be in high demand. And, the bottles prices would go up because the amount of people being in them. Look, I mean, the funny thing is we can joke about gamers being irresponsible with economy, but I actually think they're pretty good. Like if you give a gamer a marketplace, they're fucking savvy. They will not overpay. And that's why everything that we've tried to do, aside from exploiting people and taking all their money and then rugging them, which is the, as I like to say, the vape and Crocs, broccoli haircut and VC founder mode. Yeah, everything those guys do sucks ass. So all of the Ponzi games, all of those things that are crypto native, they all fucking suck and they will go to zero. That's my take. Don't have to believe me, but I'm right. Look at Fantasy Top. It just died today because it was one of those ass sucky games that took 15 million and only has like 2 million left by having a fucking shitty little game. Now, I'm going to hand it on to everyone else before I rant my way out.
Let's go with JV. What's up,
Yeah,
brother?
well,
Welcome back as always. One of our regular. Always nice to have you with us.
thank you for having me, guys. Yeah, I love to be here because the topics are so good. We learn a lot. The beauty of games is that it's like a sandbox. You can try different kind of economics strategies. Of course, healthy ones. You can also see what happened in those crappy games that they are just rogging people. They are just taking money from people. They are taking the trust of people. But I truly believe that if you implement economics in a technical way in games, and if you bring some good economists to check how good games work, we can get a lot from it, because we can do whatever we want without harming too many people. It's like, if you see around the world, there are many economies, countries that are extremely horrible. Venezuela, Zimbabwe, that they are really hurting people. But if you implement economics techniques on games, and you have those economists reading, checking how the people behave with this movement, this implementation, I truly believe that we can do something very, very good. I mean, you just projecting onto a technical side.
Yeah, the majority of gamers are always very fair. They vocal. They express when they don't like something, unlike the majority of the populace. And they want things to work out in their favor. They don't want to get screwed over. So
Yep,
I
that
think
is
it will
true.
work. 100x is back. Let's see if he has an opinion.
Hello.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
Caesar behind the 100x account. X was rugging me, so I had to refresh everything. But yeah, when you talk about gamers and them running economies, I actually think it would be a lot better ran. I think right now economies for countries are being ran by a select few whose best interest, their interest at heart is their own personal interest, and which is why we see a big topple between the top 1% and then everyone else. But gamers tend to be on the everyone else category. So if we give them the power and we give them the rules, I mean, you see how people how vocal are when something feels out of balance and can be abused inside of a game economy. So I think if we give that same power to people who already do that on a day-to-day basis, I think we'd probably see a way better economy in a lot of these countries.
That's a really interesting point. And as insane as it sounds, like getting gamers to do stuff does actually work. We fly drones pretty well at high speeds. So that's pretty cool. I see Manic Pixie with the hand up.
Hello, hello. How's everybody today?
I'm great. I'd be even more happier if all of our million bajillion guests would please like and repost the room. So yeah.
Okay, so I mean, and there might be people here who don't know me. I'm Manic Pixie. I am the charm and whimsy branch of the Crimson Caravan family. And I think if gamers ran the economy, it would be what I call organized chaos. Have you ever watched little kids playing on a playground? They all know the rules and they all get along and everybody comes together when something's not fair. But from the outside, it just looks like a screaming mass of humanity. And then you'd start looking into it a little deeper, and everything's organized, everything is level. They all want the same goal. They want to have fun. They want, they want everything to be good for the crowd, not just for the one kid.
It's interesting. I don't think you've ever been to a Swedish playground, because basically in Sweden, parents wait alongside their children while the children go crazy, and they let out all of the bad emotions and all of the chaos and all of the being mean to each other before they hit 18. And at that point, they just stop talking and retreat into their inner shell. But yeah, you're right though. Yeah, organized chaos is a good one. The arrow with the hand up.
Yeah, I would come from a different perspective. I think it'd be kind of similar to how it is in the real world, to be honest. But I think it would be more fun and more efficient. Yeah. I think change would happen faster, innovation would happen faster. But I still think you have all the different kinds of personality types that would mean that you have people that essentially want to be communists, and you want people who want to be capitalists, and all this kind of diversity. I think you still have that, but it would just be more fun and more aggressive and
But did anyone ever want to be a communist, or did it just kind of happen to them?
Well, the gamer communists out there would get a chance to see what it might actually look like, I suppose.
Yeah, you all end up having the little brother pad. That's what game economists, game communism looks like. Everyone gets one of those player 2 style with the turbo button broken. But yeah, all good. I saw another hand flash up there. We just have a load of requests in the audience. Please wait. We have a full panel and we will be rotating. While you are waiting, please like and reshare the room as well. I saw we had Boss Fighters up. Where is Boss Fighters? Boss Fighters, I saw your hand.
Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys?
Who's behind the account today?
This is Vlad from Boss Fighters, CEO and founder. Yeah, excited to be on this space. It's been a while since I've been on one. And I like your questions. Very, very interesting take on questions. So I think if gamers run the economy, the real economy, it would actually be a better place than we are right now, because it's going to be kind of a reset of the economy. Because and maybe that's a little bit technical, but I see the problems with the current economy, that it was going way too off into those, we got all those imbalances, the few people really doing this in their favor, and that is the biggest problem that I think we see. But if the gamers run the economy, we know that gamers are capable for extreme cooperation, and gamers also capable for extreme competition. And this is what real capitalism and real free market is. And right now we have all sorts of economies because we lack free market, because there are all of these regulations that impose those barriers, which limit innovation, limit all kinds of capital movement. So I actually think it's a much hypothetical scenario that would be cool.
So you want to basically live in the Bioshock world, where they literally had none of the rules, and everyone was injecting themselves with all sorts of genetic stuff, because that's why they build it underwater, to get away from all of the rules. And everyone loves a Bioshock reference. Yeah, but Sachi with the hand up as well.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm excited to be here today. As I can see, there's plenty of speakers today. We turn up every single week here with you, Warp, because your topics are absolutely insane, and we appreciate every single moment spent here. So, man, regarding the question, like my take on this is, gamers actually understand balance quite well, and when there's something overpowered, when the rewards are high, or when the progression system sucks, they spot that quite fast. So, inflation would be volatile, but it would be also, be corrected way faster than it is in the real world, because, gamers do not wait like 4 years to fix a bad system. I mean, if you look at the markets now, we need new patch notes urgently, man, urgently.
Brother, we do. We're basically in the we can't stop here, it's back country. And I'd like to remind everyone who's listening: if you sell the token, it goes down. If you buy the token, it goes up. And if you're someone who doesn't have a million bajillion, and you just watch all of that happening outside and cry. And so that's the world we're in. Bad Bikers, we've got you up next.
Yeah, GN, and good to hear so many familiar voices and faces for PFPs. I feel like it's been ages, mate. Matt.
Yeah, it's been a while, mate.
Saw Offred, saw Hatchet Harry down there somewhere. Yeah, been ages. I mean, I kind of agree with Era. Many different gamers, many different kind of people. I guess I'm the only person on this space who thinks that the world economy is a complicated beast. If like educated economists aren't going to get it right perfectly, I don't know if gamers are going to. But strictly with regards to inflation and maybe Web3 gamers, I think inflation would take on a whole different kind of like form and meaning. I guess everyone would just be like, hey, I've got a new game and we've got 1 billion tokens over here, come play, blah, blah, blah. Everyone would just start inventing their own currency, so is that even inflation, or is that just?
We're already doing that, mate. That's meme coin season. We're already inventing our own currency. Love that. Love that.
Well,
it's all good. Grim, what else you got for us?
I like the fact that we can think about economies with gaming at heart. I would take bottle caps over US dollar any days. I know you get the reference. But yeah, there's a lot to discuss on this topic. I think that it's going to be a fun one. But let's dive into it. What makes a player economy? Like, let's define the true player-driven economy, value created by players for players. We've seen this in a couple of games, but I want you guys to share your opinion about this, because this could be an interesting perspective that could be, the next step in gaming evolution as we build more universes. Lewis, go for it.
Yeah, I like to be the first because it's really easy to share your idea after you heard the others. Sometimes it's just the same idea and you need to invent something else that you have in your mind. So I want to share for this question, it comes to my mind exactly the idea of Vitalik Buterin when he was playing the World of Warcraft, right? And he lost like one character skill and the character was weaker, and then realized that you don't have the ownership of this character, and then started a revolution like this. We are here because of this, right? And then I guess that this is the core idea of this kind of economy, that we need to own the assets of our skills. Then with these assets and ownership, we can create and manage everything around the game. Now we can see some games like this. That's basically a Web3 game, that you can own the assets, that you can move the assets between also different platforms, and interoperability, which is also a really interesting topic. But if we move around this, everything that we play, the skills and everything, we can own it, and then it's like a good start for this kind of economies.
Good take. And I like that you quoted Buterin. because I think that Vitalik always, try to captivate the Web3 ecosystem with something that would transition into gaming. And one of the first projects that was created on Ethereum was CryptoKitties, that was supposed to be partially a game with interaction between NFTs and smart contracts. I would really love to see something work like extremely well, and then start considering how can we transition and cross-pollinate with other projects. Because if you got an economy that is structured, that is working well, then you can think about expanding. Before you think, let's expand, and then we curate, the details. But I see DRM with his hand up. Go for it.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting, topic. It's a really interesting question as a whole. But I think it's always a really, Web3 has a bit of a nuance, you could say, in comparison to sort of regular gaming, economies, I guess, or just actual economy. But generally, if the value only flows one way, so from players to treasury, that's not an economy. That's an extraction zone. I guess is probably really one of the main points I want to make. And I think that's really one of the biggest issues that we honestly see. And I think, early on, when we first really sort of talked about building this, this space and this industry and, trying to actually create value from games and owning items, etc. It was really with a big sort of, point that a lot of projects were making was, we're going to give, 90%, 80%, 95% even of everything that we bring in back to the economy, back to the players.
Yeah,
and that's sort of
that was
really,
a lot of pledges we saw at the time, right? A lot of people were like, "We're going to give everything back," and then, like 5 minutes later, you see the founder in a boutique, partying in Dubai. That's how it went, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And it's a lot of it as well is down to I think the actual realization when, because I think a lot of these people aren't actually engineers. And so, and I think this is a big problem with a lot of these tech companies, these game companies, is that at the real core of it, a lot of the time there isn't actually any engineers. When I say engineers in Web3, I mean blockchain engineers. I don't mean, a gaming engineer. I don't mean a dev. I mean an actual blockchain engineer. And so, when you don't actually have that at the core of the team, you then start to realize that actually the blockchain itself is actually a very slow database. It's a very powerful one. Yeah, it's a distributed ledger that can't be, can't be duplicated. It can't be copied and so on and so forth. But the actual, the thing powering it, the blockchain itself, as a database is really, really slow. It's really quite crap. And so, I think that was a realization for a lot of the companies at the time that were coming out. They'll try and release these games. So essentially, if you remove all the players and the system collapses, that wasn't a game economy. That was scaffolding for speculation more than anything else.
You need
so
players to make
we're
a
at.
game economy, right? I mean, if you don't have players, you don't have a game economy. And this is what 90% of the crypto games have done in the space. They've tried to build an economy without having players in it. And that's
So that's what I mean. If it's only one way, if the flow of the economy is only one way, this is really what I'm talking about. And so, if it's actually an economy, the actual definition of what economy is, it gives as much as it takes, or it's supposed to at least anyway. And so that's what I mean. If it wasn't able to run without players, to begin with, then it really wasn't an economy. And so I think that's really where we're at. And if the core loop is play, sell, exit, it's not a loop, it's a drain, right? So that's
true.
where we are.
Play, sell, exit, but I mean, you need actors in an economy to act for the economy. I've noticed we've got a hand up with 100x, but I'd also like to welcome Josh Tucker to the stage from G-Coin, and just to say to everyone, since you haven't had a chance yet, mate, got on a rotation.
Yep, GM, bro. Thank you for inviting me. Glad to be here. Love the discussion, economics, right? I mean, crypto is bouncing around. It affects all of us here, right? So like, I'm a scientist, developer, I'm a blockchain architect. I ran an exchange for 7 years. The macroeconomic effects of, ETFs, government buying are something that is probably out of the league of most of us to be able to predict and understand the impact. So, but I think there's one thing we all seem to be forgetting, and we're talking about it on our space today, and that's Lambos, right? I mean, we're here for the Lambos. I mean, I think that's what we're all here for, right? So, I mean, if we get Lambos back on the timeline, then I think we will definitely start to see crypto pumping again. If all crypto is a Ponzi, then all we need to do is flood X with Lambos, and I think all our bags are gonna pump, yo.
That's amazing. This is from a guy who ran an exchange for 7 years and probably knows more about crypto than a lot of us out there. Lambos is definitely the tech. Dancing isn't.
It's all hype, yo. I mean, and if we don't hype it, then we're not doing our job.
But that is the whole thing of the economy. If you look at what it is, it's based on sentiment. Sentiment is just another word for hype, just like editing is another word for clipping. As soon as reinvent all the words we already have into shorter, slightly cooler sounding words, which is kind of what they do. That's kind of what everyone does. 100X, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Matt, I want to go back to something that you just mentioned about a lot of games trying to build an economy without players. I'll take it a step further and raise you one and say a lot of people have been trying to make an economy without an actual game. It's hard to even think about like player economies when we haven't really seen, and I don't mean this in any negative way, like we work with a lot of amazing games that are trying to build something awesome, but there's no real example of like, hey, this is what a fully working player economy looks like in crypto. I don't think we've achieved that yet. We have work in progress. We have people who are trying it. We have people who are experimenting, but we don't have one that we can say, look, this is it. This is the blueprint. This is how we make it work. A lot of people tried it with Axie, and that led us to 2021, and ultimately led us to where we are today. Copying and pasting a formula just doesn't work, and I think that's also another thing that we need to keep in mind. I think the player economies will be there after we have actual games where people are willing to speculate and willing to rally behind. I mean, just look at Arc Raiders. I know that's what the game that we're showcasing here during the stream. Like, people are going for it not because they're thinking like this is an awesome thing to get hyped about in terms of the economy. They're loving it because of the gameplay, the amazing times that they're having, the experiences. That then follows the economy. It's like, okay, cool. I'm enjoying this experience. How can I take advantage of it? Let me go try to find some apricots. Let me go try to get some prickly pears somewhere. And all of a sudden, you start having people actually care about the ins and workings of an economy. But that doesn't happen until we have games that players actually want to care about. And I feel like we're inching there closer and closer every single year. Unfortunately, like we've mentioned a lot in the past, games that are not taken as they're closer or have to die in order for like the actual games and the real teams to build that will get us to the point where we actually have player economies in Web3 that matter and that players in regular gaming will actually care about.
That is a fantastic point, and you couldn't have said it better. I mean, look, we've got Arc Raiders up, and Arc Raiders Game of the Year contender made in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm such an old guy. I am LinkedIn first contacts with them, with the head of the studio at Embark. But anyway, aside from that little bit of knowledge, look at it. It's a AAA extraction shooter that people actually enjoy playing. It's a fucking skill issue if you made a AAA extraction shooter and then everyone fucking quit out on you. Skill issue. Good game, bad game. Good game, 100 million sold already. Game of the Year contender. And just after it's released. Bad game, have to pay 25K to get 13 people to play your fucking game based on someone with a VFP telling other people about it. Bad game. Good game. You see the video and you go, oh, holy shit, I need to be part of that. And that's why we like games like Gcoy. That's why we like working with exciting chains. And that's why we like experimentation and getting people like 100X and all of our guilds and everyone together to form this glorious warp nation where we're going to blast away from all of the hell and doomsday that we've been in and go to a new promised land. Grim, let's reset the room. Everyone, for the love of God, please like and retweet this space. Otherwise, you're going to have like 3 years of bear market, me posting, are you active right now? I'm making a list, and can you smoke weed and still be successful? And that's going to be it.
Yeah, and well, you couldn't have said it better about the economies, man. And Arc Raider is a prime example. That's why I always put it up on stream, because it's not greedy the way that they launched it. And a lot of gaming studios like AAA, supposedly gaming studio, those like billion-dollar behemoths, they launch game at a high price tag, demanding that that's the norm, like $80, $100 just to get a game. And they get 1/10, if not 1/20th of the player base that these games get. Why? Because these games are made by gamers, which they have fun at heart. If you're just making a long ass movie and you're just calling it a game and you expect people to fork out, $100, whatever, and then constantly try to extract from people, gamers are not, that stupid that they're just gonna fall for it every single time.
FIFA players are.
Wow.
It took so many years of FIFA before people like hang around. And there's also that basketball game that they made the exact same lobby as the previous game and just fucking throw everything in. All right, we got a ton of hands up.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Manic Pixie, we've got Boss Fighters, we've got JD, we've got Bad Fighters. Let's go around the hands and get some new context.
Oh, let's start with Boss Fight.
No, we can start with Boss Fight. Boss Fighters.
Right.
Going once.
Yeah, that's again, like, super cool question, very interesting topic to discuss. So I think the example of a working game economy is EVE Online. This game has been for 20 years, I think, already, and it seems like they do good without any blockchain, precisely because it's a massive simulation. A lot of people into it. This is almost the way they live. This is their hobby, and people are transacting. If they're gonna put it sometime on blockchain rails, this is gonna be the game, the Web3 game. And another point I want to press on what we experience in Web3 gaming is what I call misaligned incentives. A lot of Web3 games, and I can take blame on myself on Boss Fighters. We also faced this got this into this pitfall too at some point. The misaligned incentives, and I call it when instead of focusing on the game itself, the fun experience, you putting in front this prospect of earning in the game. So play to earn concept, I believe it's truly dead. It's actually the thing that got us where we are right now as an industry, Web3 industry. And this is so at odds with organic incentives of gamers. When you replace the internal motivation to play the game for fun, and you replace it with external rewards where you can literally make money just for playing the game, not from skill, but from investing in the game, you're inviting a totally different type of players in your ecosystem, which are actually not players at all. You're inviting extractors, and this instantly kills the fun. And more important, once you introduce those rewards for players, and these the scientific research shows this, once you start introducing external rewards and then you withdraw them, a player completely loses interest in playing the game. So this is the one-way path.
And they
And this
experimented
is the
with
path of knowledge.
Sorry to jump in. I mean, but that is incredibly true what you said. They did that with people who liked to play piano. They gave them like a small incentive to continue playing piano, and then they took it away, and then they lost all interest in piano, which was very sad. But you know what? The reason why the incentives that built up in games like that are 20 years old and have valuable ships and valuable stuff and Warcraft and all that is because everything in that game is essentially for free. Other than subscription. What we've never done and what we don't tend to do is we don't tend to have a full game with all of the items as NFTs that are always free. I mean, we make it so that not only do we have to whale harder than any of the other games that exist. Like any of the other games, you can, for $99, if you spend $99 in a game, you'll probably get a ton of stuff. They make more money than the game that will charge $20,000 for one item. Because, there are not enough players for a good free market. And people are getting these items so that they can extract more stuff. Instead, if there was an economy where just everything was free and you pay to get into the game, you pay to like shortcut time or whatever the other methods are, no one's ever tried that. No one's ever tried a game just with the blockchain stuff existing, but it's free. And do it with it as you will. And then that economy truly comes from the players. And again, I see a lot of hands.
I'm going to share something before we jump to the next person, because I really want to chime in on this. And I've seen a very good example of a game that I played a long ass time ago. I don't know if you guys know it. It was a very cute Flash-based RPG called Dofus from a French-based studio, Ankama. The fun thing about that game is like you could drop items, yes, the lower level ones, but the majority of the items that you would get end game, they had to be built. So people had to do, level up their job skill, and would require a long ass fucking time to get there. Sorry for the F-bombs. But to the point that you could not just farm an item, or you'd have to get each individual item, put them together by a skilled craftsman, artisan, and then, it could still turn out not as good, and you would have to make another or refine it or whatever. So and here's the thought. My idea is that we don't give players exactly what they want, but it's something that they need to achieve. And the economy is based around time, effort, not just put more money, you get everything you want. Because at the same time, you would require to have the level and the grind to be able to equip the weapon. You would have to have, everything in that direction to be able to interact with the environment, or to beat the boss that will drop with a 0.01 percentage that specific, item that will be required for a piece of that, staff, sword, whatever you want to build.
You make a fantastic point, and we've got to have more fun crafting stuff in games. Manic Pixie, your hand has been falling off for a while, and then JD is also.
Okay, so
yes,
okay, so the way we currently are, we could not sustain an economy if we wanted to, or if we tried, because right now we're not talking about good game versus bad game. We're talking about playable game versus game that spent all their money on their KOLs and not their game. It's like our current definition of a good game is it playable? It's not, is it fun? Is it well done? Does it exist, honestly?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's telling that Game of the Year, most of them, the Game of the Year is in the Crypto Game Awards, are not actually finished games. They're all alphas, betas, and all the rest of them. I was like, Game of the Year would just be a fully released game that's live. The problem is that we build in public, and building takes a very long time, and the pressure is on for people to get money out of the game that they're building in public, and they've got to get it early, because otherwise, they lose the attention. And it's just weird. We have a very small group of relatively wealthy people, or they used to be. Let's see how that pans out in the next few weeks and months. But we have that very, very small group that is meant to be appealed to by this. But essentially, we're making a game for people who fucking hate gaming. We're making a game for stockbrokers. And then we're giving all of the sort of rewards as well outside of the stockbrokers to people who enjoy penny stocks. None of these people are gamers. It doesn't matter. Like, it's too hard, man. JB, your hand was about to rot off of the stump, and then we'll go to Jasha.
The way we should see the economics and the games is, I truly believe it have to be technical, because economy is the administration of resources. So the resources that we have are the work, which technically is Z in math. We have the time, which is another resources that is the most valuable, and we also have the resources itself, which are from the ground, from the earth. So in economics is how you distribute those resources among the society. If we move all that technical stuff to games, we can understand that when you level up a player, you are investing your time and also you are investing your work. And then you have the resources, which is like the money that you put on the game. The problem, the games fail because basically you want to win the game, and the easiest way to win a game is cheating. This is basic. So how do you cheat? Well, you have money and you put a lot of money on the game, and you don't need to work and you don't need to level up. So you enter into a game and you invest a lot of money, a lot of effort. You create a guile, and then there is this monster that spend $500 on the super armor, and he destroys you after you play for 3 months. You really feel angry, and you have two choices: or you get a loan for to spend 600 or 800 more than him and revenge, which is good for the game, or you just leave the game. So the game have to be super duper great to keep that balance of sentiment where the players just, okay, this guy beat me. Okay, let me spend a little bit more money to see how I can beat him back. But if I cannot beat him back, if I can do nothing, my work and my effort is it vanish, and at the end I will leave the game, and the game will
But
be a
there's no
lot.
vanity. No one should be having to pay that much money for anything like that.
Yeah,
Look,
it's true.
I've played mobile games, Chinese mobile games, when I was trying to learn more about the forex market, reset the economy every like month or so, and you had to buy all of the stuff on Gacha again and again and again. I mean, they will bleed you out, but those are seasonal, so at least you can exceed in one season. With crypto, it's forever and it's painful, and basically no one fucking knows how any normal games work when they do this. They don't even fucking know how regular normal games work. And I have Crypto Gaming Guild. Why is he? Yes, Cryptic Gaming Guild. I keep inviting you up. Where have you gone, Cryptic Gaming Guild?
I've
Who is behind
invited.
it?
I've invited him. We
Yeah,
got
I know.
a new speaker, well, resident speaker, Paris, who's joined us with his hot takes.
Pay to win is not a good business model. It doesn't matter. You're going to leave the game eventually anyway. You're going to have 10 to 100 people that play on your game and consistently play because they can drop $1,000 or $2,000 and compete with the other whales. Using a pay to win game as an example, JV, is a terrible take. I'm sorry, bro. I'm going to shoot my shots at you because you love shooting shots at me. That was a bad take. But it's also a problem because that's a lot of what we end up seeing in the crypto market now. When Lambo, it's all about the investment and how much money you can make. And that's why we're not tackling the Web 2 economy, because everybody knows that it's Degenomics, Ponzi-nomics style games that we're seeing a lot of in the space. And the games that are good, the games that may not have the marketing budget, the games that have decent economies, aren't always the most exciting like headline news that people are tossing out there everywhere they go, because people are too busy trying to earn money off of the games that are trying to make money to try to get players. And so like it's a culture issue in the gaming space in Web3. It's not just a bad games, playable games. We've got eFrontiers, which is in beta right now. We've got Raven Quest, which has been killing it, and they actually have a decent system with like their earning potential and land system and how they did their airdrops and community led marketing, and like they did amazing things. We've got Cambria, which sorry about the Discord today, guys, that sucked. But they got hacked this morning.
Yeah, but Cambria
yeah.
sucked. Absolute salties. Sorry, I'm still trying to get Cryptic Gaming Guild up, but you cannot, Arish. You cannot. Like that is a tough.
I can't mention Cambria.
No, you can mention it, but you can't mention it without getting some stick because it's not a fun game.
What do you mean? It's a RuneScape style game, bro. It's RuneScape for Web3, and
Oh,
they've
that's
managed
just
to.
it's
Come
cursed.
on
You
now.
can't say that.
It's close. It's close. It's not exactly RuneScape. I know you're gonna defend it with your life because I'm Jagex, and but at
Not
the
really.
same time,
I fucking hated RuneScape when I worked there. When I first saw it, I'd never played it before, and I looked at it and I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And I was
I love
forced to
RuneScape.
play up to level 3 to get off the fucking tutorial island, and it was the worst
Okay, Force
100
tutorial
minutes
was
of my
annoying as hell.
life.
I
It
agree.
was the worst 100 minutes of my life before I sat there and modeled things in 3D and was like, why the fuck does anyone play this game? I came to love it later. But yeah, I don't know if we
But
ever
have you
gained.
seen what they're doing with Cambria lands and how they're styling the economy around the
Oh,
lands that you bought?
As soon
and
as
how
you
it's-
said lands, I was like, that is a Web3 curse, man.
Buy the land.
No, but the land contributes to the gameplay, provides a vehicle for people to continuously play outside of seasons, which they're doing right now. You don't have to sit there and play the Degenomics model of the game, which is a dual arena where you're risking to earn, and you don't know it's like rock paper scissors, like Gigaverse. You know, like it gives you an opportunity to actually engage in an aspect of the game without having to do the Ponzi-esque model of it, and then you also have the ability to earn stuff towards the game or that you can then sell. And the person who buys the land and spends the bulk of the money to get it then charges a tax for the people who rent the islets from that landowner, which provides different perks depending on what tier or what they're doing. So like
all
there's
of this
options.
sounds very, very interesting, Tarish. Like, I mean, having a bank and putting money in the bank and going to the bank and picking up money at the bank, putting money back in the bank. I would
Pixels,
rather
everyone.
fucking
I've seen it before.
die than do that. We
Done.
need to get crypto freaking cryptic gaming deal. Why did you drop those features again?
Let's go with Dash next.
Let's go with yes. Jashaka.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say I have the best beta group, right? My kids. So both of my sons are gamers, right? And my older son, he's actually going to an esports school. So I never knew this existed, right? It's a school for professional gamers. They have teachers, they teach you how to play multiple games, they engage in esports challenges with other schools. I mean, rooms of Xboxes, PlayStations, real teachers teaching them skills, strategy. I mean, blew my mind, this thing, right? I mean, when I grew up, like computers rotted your brain. And then here is the ability to actually become a gamer. But one thing I noticed, right, is that my kids, they move from game to game, right? They'll play one game to the end in story mode, then move to the next one. If they like the game, then the first game, they'll come back in network play and play with community. What I loved about the concept of Web3 gaming was the ability to take your assets from game to game, right? This concept on whether you call it an NFT publicly or you hide it internally, right? If my kids could take their assets from Fortnite to Minecraft, I mean, they probably have like 10 grand worth of assets, right? Over 5-6 years of playing, or, but I guess builders know this is way harder than it sounds because we have no standards, right? You can't take a character from one game easily into the other one. And what I love about what Warp is doing for me is to connect creators, right? So the concept of cross-pollination, right? Not to be siloed like the Web3 communities, but to work together and share users, because I don't think you're going to lose revenue by sharing users, right? But I think you will help to build this next generation of gamer, right? So somebody they get my game, they hit the story mode or whatever, right? Then I would be so happy to say, yo, go and play these guys' game. It's going to be super fun as well. But then come back and join in the community. And I'm not sure if I'm slightly new to the whole, Web3 gaming community because I've been building, but I would love to know, if there's any Discord servers or X groups where, I could meet other creators and help to cross promote, because I'm just, learning from the real world. My kids, this is what they do, right? Go from game to game. And if you try to trap them and stonewall them and keep them like you guys were saying, they're going to take the money and then they won't come back, right? So
100%. And we can definitely help you with all of these fantastic guilds and all of their creators. Cryptic, please, before you drop again, who's behind the mic?
And
Just
drop.
drop.
What I wanted to reply to Jashaka is that, well, there is one, and it's called Warp Nation. And mind you, it's going to be the hub where everybody will meet. Gamers, creators, developers, studios,
communities. Yeah, it's communities. It's like a hub of hubs. It's like all of the guilds will be there, all of the gamers will be there, all of the games will be there, and you can meet each other in that as well.
Yeah, but creators, we I want to meet other creators. The other stuff is important, right? But if you're building, I'd love to help you guys, and send my people your way, send my community your way, right? So, you get gamers, they're happy if you treat them with respect, not try to trap them, but Web3 is very siloed. I mean, apes are apes, Azukis are Azukis, communities, even small ones, they're so siloed. And this silo concept for me, I'm an open source developer, it's hard for me to appreciate.
We don't discriminate, by the way. And yes, you do meet other developers, because ideally what it is you have specific areas where you can mingle with other developers without all the clutter that you get from, general conversation. So the focus is like, you do have a role that defines you, but you also can mingle with the rest of the community if you want to interact with them. That's the goal, is like grow the community in all different directions. You might find people that are part of the community that don't know they can be part of a developing team, and there's opportunities there. But since we have been talking a bit, I'm gonna throw another curveball, because the topic has been really hot, and I wanted to know, aside from all the hands that will share their opinions on the previous question, why so many token model collapse under their own hype? And this is something that we've noticed happening time and time again. Like, bull market, bear market, everybody dead. No more projects. And I'm like, the true builders survive, and they keep going. And that's why I know that you guys want to share your opinion on this one.
Really, really, why they all collapse? Oh my God, because the game suck. The fucking people that they put in the game suck. The people that they get to shill the game suck. They all suck. Make a good game. Make a fucking good game, and then put the token out with the good game. When you're making enough money to support, anyway, other people, please take it away. There's probably many
Let's go with
hands.
Bad Biker. I think his arm was already zombified at this point.
Sorry, mate. Can you repeat the question? You just cut out just as you were throwing it up. Throw a curveball, and then it got a bit static. Sorry, please.
Okay, sure. So why so many token model collapse under their own hype?
Why so many token models? Say it again.
Collapse under their own hype. Yeah.
I think the token model is incredibly hard to sustain. Period. I think crypto and gaming would both be better without tokens. I feel like tokens, the only thing people can do to the point of them in a monetary sense is to sell them at the top, and everyone's essentially getting their hands on them to sell them. In gaming, it's different because there's stuff to do with them. But still, it's like, if you took the token away and they had to use their dollars, it wouldn't change the gaming experience. Do you know what I mean? The token layer is a speculative layer, and everyone is trying to sell the top. People get annoyed with people selling out of them, but only the sellers get annoyed with people selling out of tokens, the future sellers. Because if you weren't going to sell, no one would be annoyed that the price goes up or down. I think the token model and the amount of people launching tokens continuously and forevermore, it doesn't sustain when you zoom out and go the distance, I know it's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, but
your opinion, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, and
we love the opinions.
Yeah, and when you think of people's financial incentives and why it's happening with VCs or whatever, they're just true to their financial incentives, and while the original token promise of the speculator being aligned with the founder, being aligned with the participant was a real righteous idea, the reality is it's for the VCs and other people, it's so much easier to rinse and repeat, and then down at the other end, the consumer, you've got farmers, same again, rinsing, repeating. I just don't, it hasn't played out, and it continues to not playing out, with the very few exceptions of blockchains with their own tokens that have so much purpose, in so many different directions. Sorry, I know it's not the fluffiest thing.
No, but that's exactly why we have a token that has, and we are a blockchain that has all of so many directions as well. He makes a very good point. There is a lot of hands up. Do you know any of the ordered, Grim?
JV, and then
No, but Manic has had a hand up
Manic
for
as
like
well, but
400
all
years
of
as well.
them.
All of them have been banned.
Okay, mine's pretty short, so I'll just go ahead and jump in. Honestly, you say because they collapse under their own weight. They also collapse because they're founded by extractive jackwagons who hire their fellow extractive jackwagons to hype them up, and then they all rug and dip at the same time, and F your token, you're done.
Yes, exactly that. Like exactly that, Manic. We should put that on a fucking poster. I mean, it's definitely there like
With a
that.
little cat hanging.
Yes, exactly. Hang on, it's not as bad as it could be. JB.
Yeah, what Manik said is tokens cannot start looking to be hype. Hype is not good. Actually, hype is a wrong way to launch the token. The way that we have been seeing launching the token is rock using automatic market maker that they increase artificially the price. Retail investor or people who get onto the token and the token then go down, and those retail investors they feel deceived. I believe that the tokens have to be released to the market through utility, and that's it. You need to use a token in my game. Use it in my game. Don't start trading on centralized exchange and doing that pop and dump because people feel bad about that. You know, the token is to play your game, and that's it.
I'm there. Well made. Fast fighters.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm alone here with the token that already failed, and I can tell you exactly why it happened for both fighters. And a lot of things that you're saying here is very true. So first of all, we were obliged to follow a specific business model advised by our previous publisher, and it was a completely inflationary model where players purchase these tokens inside the game, but then they incentivize basically to sell them on exchanges, and this created disconnect between the users and the traders. So instead of adding value to the game, players were extracting value and selling these tokens on the open market and like for those speculators on exchanges. Second thing, when you go on centralized exchanges, you need to pay huge fees and you need to allocate a lot of tokens, which are getting instantly dropped, airdropped, and the exchanges are selling. If you go in with a loan-based market makers, they are selling on you. So everybody is just selling on you, which is a very bad thing. So yeah, I can talk a lot about this, but I actually have an idea and what I'm trying to do with the next chapter for boss fighters and the little ecosystem that we build in around the tech that we build for boss fighters. So I think, yeah, having a token is a risky thing. It is a speculative layer, but I still think it can work only if you reward players. There must be more utilities for the tokens, similar to blockchain utilities. So paying for transactions, minting stuff, upgrading items. Basically, you need to have a lot of utilities for the token. It must slowly trickle from the gameplay and gameplay activities. And the way I see it, the drop of the tokens must be weighted by skill of a player, a little bit of luck, and the quality of the assets that user has. And again, getting those assets should require a lot of time and effort, and probably probably tokens along the way. And maybe that's a better model that is more sustainable. And I think what must be added on top of that, the tokens must be bought back by the team. So yes. Like, let's say a player purchases premium currency, just like in a mobile game or like whatever game, and then part of those fees from purchasing premium currency instantly goes to a special like buyback pool, and then a protocol buys back tokens from them from AMM, from DEX, and allocates those tokens, reward tokens, based on skill, luck, and quality of assets. So that's my kind of a view of the evolution of the system. So I want to try it to in a different way. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I definitely learned a lot from launching my own token for boss fighters.
Fully understand, and I fully sympathize with anyone launching a token in this market. It is absolutely mercenary, and most of the people end up with so much token to give away by the time that they get to the token launch. It is just a down only hell festival. But I think one of the things that we all forget sometimes is that if you play any game, any RPG game, you start out level 1, broke as fuck, with a shitty sword and some rags. And by the end of the game that you're playing, and we're talking hours, not years. We're talking like within 30 hours or 150 hours, you are then basically the god of that entire state. Like, people worship the ground you're walking on. You have more money than God himself. You can buy out the inventory of any fucking shop you visit, unless you're Dragon Quest, because it's a bit stingy. But you can buy so much. And what we forget is that for gamers, that is the fantasy, to start off with nothing and become rich like that. As soon as you extract any of that to become real wealth, you need to put that gamer back to where they were. You can't let them extract that and then keep them at God level, because that will never fucking work. If you want to extract that wealth out of a game, and that is your time is money, then you need to pay back that. Like, it just doesn't work. And game economies work like fucking a million times faster than real economies, like a million billion times faster. You become like rich enough to own your own fucking city and your own house within a couple of 100 hours. And in a month or so, crypto moves fast, but not that fucking. Like, you can't kill 6 wolves in a day. You can't even find one fucking wolf in a day in real life. Let alone kill 400 fucking things or catch 300 Pokemon in a day. We do things really fast because it's an entertainment product. Someone has to go up. If they go up, then they cash out. Then they have to go back down. If they don't go back down, the system fucking breaks. You can't have everyone getting better and better and better and more powerful and more richer and better in the game with all of the resources. And then they can extract on top of that. That doesn't work. That time has to be cashed in. You have to pay the reaper. I saw a ton of hands that went up and then went down. I know that
we got
Cryptic's
Caesar, we got Paris, we got Shaka. But we're also running out of time, so make it quick, guys. If you want to step in, give your 2
Make
cents,
it quick.
and let's go. Let's go with Caesar.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have covered a lot of really good reasons. I think going back to something I mentioned earlier in the space about a lot of people who came into the crypto space trying to build a game, just copy pasting blueprints or ideas that they saw working in other places. I think the whole crypto gaming as a whole copied the idea of DeFi and regular crypto, where the model is launch token first, generate hype, show product later. And I feel like it works in finance apps because it's hard to tell whether a finance app is good or not. It doesn't work with gaming because gamers aren't blind. It's not hard for a gamer to tell, hey, that game is shit. This game looks like crap. It's not hard for a gamer to tell this is a good game and this is a bad game. And I think that's where like the model just doesn't work anymore, because people are no longer buying the hype. People are no longer buying into your pretty trailer or your pretty white paper. They want to see the game. They want to get their hands on it. And once they get their hands on it, it takes them 5 minutes to realize if you're telling BS or you're actually the real deal. And I think that's why these tokens collapse. They tried a model that worked for a long time, but once people started realizing, hey, a lot of these white papers that promise me a metaverse and promise me interoperability in 15 games across multiple ecosystems never actually delivered. And what they did deliver was a bunch of doo-doo. Now I'm not going to really believe the next person that comes in and tries to tell me that their game is going to be the next Fortnite killer. And I think that's why we're seeing all these
Did you believe anyone in the first time, bro? If someone told
man,
me,
unfortunately, man, I am waiting for a lot of 2021 projects that sold me the metaverse and sold me the Ready Player One.
We're too optimistic. We're too optimistic.
I'm still hoping for that dream.
Too nice.
Come on, bro. I want to see Ready Player One. I want to see like the world.
I want to see that, but not the ones that you bought, mate. Not the ones you bought, because
no, that's definitely not Sandbox or Decentraland or any of those. Like we've already seen that they're crap. Like they're
I mean,
not
we could
going
have seen
anywhere.
that on day one before buying the
Well,
ship.
Decentraland, I was excited for on day one because when they were first building it out, it was wireframe. It wasn't that like little pixel voxel friggin' world that they turned it into. It was like a CAD design where like you could build out your own system. It looked exciting. It was meant to be a VR world specifically, and it bastardized over time, and it was miserable. But I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to toss my take in here since I'm already yapping.
Wait.
we I don't think that it's so much an issue of games coming in and just trying to copy pasta to just get their game out. I think it's that there's monetary incentive for them to come into this space and fail, right? They can come in here and they can raise millions of dollars because people were throwing money at games that had metaverse and AI and all this shit in their name, right? And so long as they were launching a token, people were willing to back them because the VCs got a token allocation. People were willing to promote for them because people were getting their token in Allo and they were going to dump on it in excessive amounts. Like it wasn't about the game. It was about monetizing and making money and failing happily for the next 2 to 4 years while the CEO collected a paycheck, while the COO collected a paycheck. And it's a Ponzi scheme. You're all investing your money and your time and your effort and all that into the next 4 years of these guys living their best friggin' lives while they're slowly rugging their company because it's financially beneficial to them, to everybody else that's connected to them in the industry until TGE happens. And then you see TGE happen and everybody dumps and then everybody forgets about them 6 months later until they come to launch their next thing, or let's see if we can milk some more out of these guys with another NFT sale. We promise we're going to do better this time. And then it's the same shit. And you know what? We're idiots. So we dump more money into these guys and
You
perpetuate
dump
the
more
cycle even
money,
more.
Parrish. We don't. Like, if we don't pay fucking.
I
all
say
that money.
we, the general degens
I
in the
know,
economy, in the system. Yeah.
No, we got Cryptic up finally. Cryptic has managed to update X, I hope, and get.
Actually, I don't know what that was. I was hosting a space for myself earlier on a completely different context, but yeah, for some reason, I had to just restart X entirely there, and it finally worked. But I was joining the spaces and as a speaker, and I would just be kicked off automatically and mute everyone. Anyway, just a small. I know that we're kind of nearing the end of the spaces, but I heard someone else talk earlier about founders being extractive and dumping, and obviously that does happen, and hiring other dumpers to help them dump and whatever. But I think it's important to realize that everybody at every stage of the food chain is dumping on everyone else, and that there are often scenarios where well-meaning founders come into the space. They then the VCs themselves are extractors. They dump. The KOLs are extractors. They dump. The market makers are extractors. They might dump. The launch pads are extractors. They might dump on you. The exchanges might dump on you. The chains might offer you amazingly attractive grants that end up being fluff and vaporware. So, like, the idea that it's just, not trying to say that there are no founders that don't, or teams, or, various members that don't dump on their community, but, I think it's important to understand that a chart might look like insiders dumping, and often case that is the case. But is that often the founders? It's often not the teams. It's often usually the investors, KOLs, market makers, exchanges. A lot of people don't realize just how predatory exchanges are. I've worked at numerous projects that have reached insane valuations historically. Some, in tens of billions of FDV, which is pretty nuts, and I've worked at ones in the, just the 8-figure zone, and you have the community begging you for more listings, and this is not always net positive. You get a listing on an amazing exchange, you think it sounds great. There's usually some deal that's happening in the back office that ends up dumping your token. So,
yeah, mate, this is 100%. And I feel really fucking shitty as a founder who raised for a VC from VCs in 22 and actually built the fucking game. I feel like I was borderline retarded for hiring people in-house and building a game and actually putting money into the game and paying myself like just enough to survive and reading the lean startup kind of stuff again and being like, oh, we need to do this and this and this. And, you know, getting success, having that all just viciously taken away because all of the people and all of the things that you've just described have extracted the living shit out of games. It's like, even if you don't have a game founder who is a massive extractor, everyone else is like hanging on them like fucking leeches. And by the time they lumber to the promised land of getting over the exchange, it's like watching that scene from Princess Mononoke with that dying pig, you know, like just bleeding out, and he's
You
just
gotta
like,
love the dying pig, though, you know. But,
exactly.
and I actually
that's what happens, you're bleeding out.
I actually also forgot to say one extremely important, you know, extractor as well. Is that like, look, let's not forget the gamers themselves. You know, it's very easy for them to get cross, stamp their feet, and point their fingers at everyone when they're in the process of dumping all the airdrop tokens they got for free, or all the play to earn tokens they got for free.
That's the fault of the games for giving that
every
shit.
single person is an extractor in the, and that's, you know, it's all about leading by example here. You know, I mean, we've all done it a little bit, and we've all done both. You know, I'm lucky in that I've been in the position of being both the, you know, extracting but also not extracting. And yeah, I think it's important to be honest about it as well. No one is going to be like completely clean, but you know, it's about just trying to do your best where you can. You know, and
yeah, exactly.
You know.
I mean, the Bonnie Blue model of how to, you know, give it away is not necessarily the best one for games. You can't just give everything away on the first date before you've even, you know, built your boudoir, as it were. But yeah, we are like definitely far over time because we've had so many fantastic takes. If anyone wants to just give us a last little thing and we can wrap up. Jar, your hand is up. I see Sachi Bad Bikers. Small takes. Roger.
I would just say quickly that I think one thing. So I did run an exchange for like 7 years, and the tokens they crash when you have more sellers than buyers, right? And you know, if you have a token strategy, then you need a way to throttle cashing out, throttle payouts, right? Lock up rewards, make sure that, you know, it's a responsibility to your users, right? If you give everybody $1 million, of course we're going to sell it. I mean, you'd be surprised, you know. So, you know, more sellers than buyers is a big problem. You know, reward the community more for holding, give them more things to do with their money, right? But people are always going to sell if they can make money, if they can cash out.
Makes a fair point. Sachi, what's your take?
Hey, thanks for the mic. Nice talk, guys. So just to tune in real quick as a wrap up from our end, because we're actually, you know, launching our token in less than a week from now.
Good luck.
Like, yeah, thanks. We're gonna need it. The market is how it is, but we have prepared everything when building for so long that it's not we cannot prolong it. So, you know, the biggest problem that people are facing when they're launching these things is they give away tons of allocations before launch and without actual use case behind the token, you know, within their economies. And that is the moment when the actual percentage of selling pressure before they even launched is higher than the actual liquidity pool that they're deploying, you know. And these Ponzi Economies it's the biggest problem nowadays, because people just create a staking mechanism or something, and they just call it utility for their gaming project. You know, it's just simply not enough. Like in our case, it's pretty simple. You know, as we are a socialfied casino, things are a little bit different than with a classic game. It's a socialfied casino multiverse where people, you know, they mainly come in for entertainment, not to farm a guaranteed API. You know, so, and there's tons of cosmetics, tons of styles, tons of power ups, plenty of games from like the worldwide known providers, et cetera. And you never promise fixed funds, and we do not need new buyers to pay the old ones. And, you know, that's what keeps it sustainable. A business model that actually works and generates real revenue. That's what matters in this field. Thanks for the opportunity to speak, and thanks for wishing us luck. We invite you all, obviously, to follow the launch, guys.
Follow the launch. He means buy his token. Buy his token. Here's the ticker. Please buy them. Like, I mean, everyone knows that. I mean, tokens are the lifeblood of the space. Most of the liquidity shot into meme coins. We've all been there. We've all been on the meme coin spaces, and we've seen how fun it is when tokens go up. And the thing is, just if you believe in a project, you don't have to sell the token. It's not. You don't have You don't have to blast your airdrop the second you get it. I didn't sell my beamable airdrop. Probably regret that. Because I don't pay myself like petite wages and all the rest of it. And that's the thing. We shouldn't have a race to the bottom. We should have a race to each other, building communities and building things together so that each person working in their own self-interest, each person shilling again, each person shilling their bags is bringing everyone forwards together. And that's what we're building here at Warp. And I just want to say, I absolutely love this. Bad bikers, you get a minute, if not less.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pass. That was a real good note to end on. And yeah, real good note to end on. I think it was 100x talking before JV, but it didn't show me. But yeah, I mean, everything you said about everyone wanting to dump. I mean, and JV then said about, buyers and sellers, like even the buyers were buying to sell in the future date. And again, I think that's the token fallacy. I was going to ask a question for the group, but it seems like everyone's rushing off, man, and it's 1:20 over here, so I'll save that one for next week. But great to chat with you guys,
man. And close us out, Grim. It's been a fantastic place. We've had more speakers than we can shake a stick at today. And
I wanted to hear fun.
I think the lesson here is also we all need to be prepared to fall on our swords more often and just hold tokens to zero.
Yeah, and that's basically my trading strategy.
Can you give me 30 seconds, bro?
Of course, fine, go for it.
I got a solution. Stop fucking making tokens.
Yeah,
It's no absolute. Nobody
Exactly.
wants that shit. Look,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, like I jumped in here late, and it was all about dumping the fees, bomb, boom, boom, boom. Stop making them. Stop making them, or
Exactly.
make a token that can be used in multiple products. I'm not going to buy a token to go get a loaf of bread because I get an extra yeast blast. Nobody wants
Exactly.
that in the
We
real
all
world.
just need to
And the
launch
more,
securities.
and I just wrote like an extremely long rant on a post like 5 minutes ago. You feel free to go read that. You build for experience, and people are happy to give you their money for experience. You build for revenue, and you can also build what I call it the mullet philosophy, where you can be business in front and party in the rear. And those two sides never have to touch each other. If you want to put in flips and dips and crams and doohickeys and whatevers, do it for a place that people enjoy that kind of experience. But for the most people, they could not care less. So you don't have to like water down an economy or inject a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense. And I guess the other thing is like, I hope that somebody comes along with the biggest, baddest ass concept in the world, of which I have many. But then somebody wants to fund it in this space and try to inject a bunch of shit, and they say, fuck you. I'm not going to do it. And they say the same to the next VC and the next VC and the next people. If we don't actually stand up and say, we're not going to build shit that's going to absolutely wreck us or break us or bankrupt us into token launching sub industry that absolutely like just by the time you're like wither, it's like a never ending story in a tray dragging Artax through the swamp, right? Look, man, like Artax, the horse is your freaking project. And guess what, man? He gets to the princess anyway, right? Because he's got this luck dragon that helps him move through all these different things. And that's all we got to do. Like today I'm salty. Everyone's saying crypto's dead. Crypto's not dead. We're not giving anybody a reason to use this shit. And until such time, we should just use stable coins and call it a day. Because if what we make is even incrementally better, easier to use, or values people's time and experience, then we win. It doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be good. Thank you.
Banger take.
Banger take. I'm going to raise 3.7 million for a yeast blast token. Bread now. No, seriously, I don't want to
It's gonna
devalue
be the
that.
hot buzzword, man. Just wait. Next Q1, yeast blast is going to be the
Get that fucking Brian Johnson, the magic mushroom toting live
Oh
forever
my
guy,
God! Don't
to
even
get
get me
yeast
started
blasting.
on that guy.
You know
Man,
what? Then
can't
you
go
spend
from
the yeast
0
to bake
infinity
bread.
on your first trip. I was like, break out the art supplies, man. Go dance and talk to a tree. Don't just sit in a fucking sleeping bag because you took 5 G's on your first trip. You're not
That's a
supposed to
fucking
pierce the
heroic
veil like
dose,
that.
man.
That's
That was a
just an
heroic
ignorant
dose.
That's like flexing. That's like the guy that wants to drink, that can prove he can drink 21 shots on his birthday, right? Like, you're going to get carried out, bro.
Yeah, liver damage.
And the
all.
ladies don't give a shit.
on
He
that
hasn't
note-
posted about his erection today. So on that note,
We'll see you next week. It's
another.
been a blast, everyone, and thank you for coming. Remember to like, retweet, follow all these legends on stage that joined us today with their banger takes. And we can't wait to hear more from you, both in the comments and from next week's speakers. So see you again on No Cap Gaming next week. Same time, same place, every time.
Have a good time.